Mike Lombardi's also speaking out of both sides of his mouth. So
those are the good picks Bill had.
But he's not wrong
now
to
you're
say
saying
what
Bill
he said.
want to sign him back?
But he's not wrong to say what he said here.
He want to sign them all back.
Which is, how is it Bill's fault if you kept them all? You made a call on many of those players that are on this roster. You decided to keep them.
You brought back Duger. Yeah.
He always gets the names wrong. He's terrible with names.
Keneal. He butchers names more than anyone. Maybe it's on purpose.
That's on the Foxborough Rush podcast that he said these things. That's him defending his guy, which he always does. So you've got to take it with a big grain of salt.
Oh, he's a Bill guy.
Right?
No doubt.
Because Mike Lombardi is Bill's guy and is a big FOB, friend of Bill. The Belichick Bobo
He's
that
the
he is.
FOB.
He's the original FOB. He's been doing this for years.
OG FOB.
Doesn't mean he's wrong. Does not mean he is wrong. Because the Patriots decided after winning 4 games last year and looking like they needed more talent that they were just going to do their best to bring everybody back. And they did. They brought all these guys back. Re-sign everybody.
Well, that's going to be a good one this year at the Super Bowl on Flagler, and Maz. What's he call him?
Yeah, I think you're right, Flagler.
Flagler and Maz. That's on purpose. He does that on purpose. Oh, it's going to be a good sit-down. Especially if this continues.
Jerod Mayo did not today, when asked again about that, say anything other than, I have no excuses and it's on me. He's far more serious today because he's now 1-6 and he doesn't look very good.
He's in a really tough spot. Because I know he loves football. He's a good dude. He's learning on the fly, and that's the problem. That's hard to do, learn on the fly and get it right. Like, look at Bill when he started in Cleveland. I think didn't go perfect. He got ousted pretty quickly. Most guys have had multiple chances to work through things, and then when you hit your stride, it's very rare that like the newly hired head coach, first time ever, just goes flying. Great, Dan Campbell, who we've been talking about, he had to go through it in Miami, get his ass kicked down here. And he's bounced around. Again, like the D'Amico Ryans comparisons, it's not the same path. It's not the same build. D'Amico got to call the defense for San Fran. Then he took good assistants from San Francisco to go there. And he coached else. Like he's had multiple stints. This is all new to Jerod. He's in a really tough spot because he doesn't have a lot of talent. And I don't know what he would do as a head coach. Like, okay, you get in there at staff meetings. What's he say to the offense? What do we do, guys?
Yeah.
Bill would say, okay, take Walker out. You take Randy off the top. Anybody got a freaking answer for it? And they'll sit there, All right, guess we don't. Then we're cooked. Then we're effed. Could Jerod say that to the offense? I hope. He's got to learn. He's got to adapt. Or else it's going to go really badly for him. He's a smart guy. He's got to learn on the fly. He's got to do some different things. He's got to be careful of what he says. Because you can't say something one day and then take it back the next day. And do that repetitively. Excuse me. Like that doesn't hold for you. And people start just not listening. It's tough. Like I said, I don't got the answers. I don't know if he does. And you brought up the best question. Who does he lean on? Who do you lean on?
That's my thing. I don't know who Jerod Mayo turns to for who is his mentor in this situation that he can lean on and say hey, what do you? It's certainly not Bill, right?
No.
And so if you don't have any other experience or coaching tree or anyone else that you're able to go to, that's some uphill sledding right there.
Like, look at Billy O'Brien. I'm just trying to look at other examples of guys that just coached in the pros, then had success at the Texans. Then he went back to the collegiate level, left his family, went and worked at Alabama because it was for a good school, because he was going to learn under Saban, was going to apply some things differently. Did he work with Sarkisian when he left there? Then he came here, and then he said, this is toast. Then he bounced to Ohio State because Ohio State had more talent. Then he went to Boston College because it's his dream job. And the day they hire him, he's got his whole staff ready to go because it's the road that he traveled all the years prior. and the connections he made and understanding football in the league and who he could trust. He brought in all former NFL assistants. And it's not going to be easy at BC, and he knew that. And, yeah, they get their tails handed to him again. But he's establishing something. He's establishing a culture. He's building something here. I brought up the Virginia Tech post from this weekend, or from the other night. They took a picture of the Boston College locker room. And I remember Billy snapped one time when he was coaching somewhere because tape was left everywhere all over the floor, just garbage. Chairs all over the place. Now they tuck all the chairs in. Probably the freshmen go through, clean up all the garbage, and they leave it spotless. And Dion did the same thing with his team this year after they trashed somebody's locker room. But that's culture. This is how you treat people. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do as a team. Something to be proud of. Yeah, we get our ass kicked, but clean up his freaking locker room. Because this matters down the road. I don't know when it pays off, but it's little things like that. Because that stood out to me the other night seeing that. And I'm like, do we have that here? What's the culture? Who are you going to sit? Like the talk of last week was, if it's not working, we're going to start sitting people. What message do you send? Which player is part of the big culture here that, that's going to resonate with the team? I can't come up with one. Bob couldn't. You? I mean, we do 4 hours a day here. We Polk on offense. He gives him 34 snaps. Problem is, you don't have a ton of talent. You need guys. You need the good guys or the guys that look like they have talent, even though they might be a head case.
What a day for this franchise.
Those guys aren't soft.
What a day. Their legendary all-time head coach who gets fired back in January.
This is why you don't say it.
Is now out here defending the players on the team against the guy who took over for him, who's his former player, and a guy who used to coach under him.
Was a tough guy, too.
And was a tough player for this coach.
Yep. Bill would say that.
Damn.
Oh, my.
Now Bill's an interesting media guy to me, finally.
Oh.
Wow. You want to stick your nose in this? This is interesting.
He's right.
I guess he's talking about the Patriots now.
I guess he's willing to talk about him now.
God.
At their lowest point in decades, Bill Belichick is now ready to talk Pats. Might even start a Patriots-centric podcast this week, knowing him.
It's like he was waiting. Wait till Matt Patricia and Lombardi get together.
Make no mistake, he is being a weasel still.
Sure.
With how he handled this season. Wouldn't say a damn thing about them when they looked good early on.
Right.
Now, at their lowest point, literally in decades, not months or years.
How about
he is ready to jump right in and call out the head coach and say, I feel bad for his players who have to listen to this guy call them soft. I feel bad for them. Those are tough players.
he almost missed a dig on the offense there. He said, Drake May, he's done some nice things. He's looked good at some things, but it'll be interesting once it gets competitive.
He just made Mayo's job a lot harder, by the way, too.
Sure did.
Because he just circled the wagons for his guys that he knows, and he made a point there, too.
Yep.
Like, hey, don't forget, I didn't even have Gonzalez or Marcus Jones this time last year. They're already on IR.
The guys who...
I made more with all those guys that he has.
Now, he conveniently leaves out that they don't have Bentley, Barmore, or Judon, although Judon got hurt last year, too. So he was gone by now anyway.
Yep.
But he conveniently leaves that out. So let's not just pretend like it's the same exact group. It's
Barmore
not.
didn't play well until the end of the year, though. He got it going at the end of the year because he was still pushing through that injury. But it's still direct shot across the bow.
What a shot. And so
I feel
he
bad
knows,
for those guys.
He knows that there are guys in that room that when they got called soft yesterday, and this is the price that Jerod Mayo is going to pay.
We all knew it.
He sat there, called them soft. You knew there were players that said, well, what makes you so great?
Yeah.
Another one, Keon White. You think Keon White thinks he's soft? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That's this is going to be tough to come back.
And so you know there were guys in there that immediately questioned the head coach and said, who the hell are you to call me soft, pal? Number one. And now they've got their former head coach, who's a legend, all-time great, best to ever do it. Ended on a very poor note here, right? Fell apart at the end, but his resume is what it is, saying, come on, these guys are tough. I coach these guys. I know these guys. I know these are tough players. I feel for them. I feel bad for them. They are now just going to feel more as if they are in the right to start questioning Jerod Mayo. Meanwhile, as I've been saying now for weeks, Jerod Mayo does not strike anyone as a strong leader. And a big part of his problem is his public statements are all over the map. They are never consistent. So let's just go back a few weeks to what Jerod Mayo was saying about his team after, let's say, the Dolphins game.
I think there's no question like we're tough, but we just have to be better from an execution standpoint.
That's what, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
So from 3 weeks ago, there's no question we're tough. 3 weeks later, we're a soft football team across the board.
Oh, man.
He's a walking, talking contradiction. He's all over the place. He never keeps his story straight. He never keeps his rationale straight. He never keeps anything straight at the podium. So I can only imagine that is a reflection of how the team is being run in private. When we don't see what's being said publicly by the coach, we'll just go based on what we see on the field on game day, which is a disorganized mess that's all over the place at the podium. I can only imagine the meeting rooms are the exact same thing.
And it's almost reactionary Monday press conferences for him because he'll say what he's really thinking Sunday. And then once he thinks about it and talks to people,
it's clean this up.
Yeah, I got to clean this up tomorrow.
Yeah, here's an idea. Stop shooting from the hip. Go into it with some sort of plan.
Yep.
Here's another thing, too.
Maybe take a note.
Is this more of a directive that Bill falls short of saying, hey, like Mike Pellegrino, he was still the same coach there last year. My son, Brian, he was coaching safeties last year. DeMarcus Covington, he was coaching the down linemen last year, or the backers last year.
What's changed?
Yeah.
No, like, I think he stopped short of naming the coaches because he could have kept going. That's all the same. Do you know the rushing yards are what? 171,
They're getting
192,
torched.
193 in the last 3 games. The last 3 games, they have gotten obliterated in a run. And you could sit here and nitpick it and say it's 3 runs last week. Yeah, it was 3 big runs. But you could do that with anything. Oh, we gave up 350 yards passing, but boy, if we didn't give up those 280 yards or 280 yarders, it's a much different ball game.
That's insane. Well, Bill, welcome to the party. Real easy to dump on the Patriots today. They're in a bad way. They're in a very bad way.
Hey, if you like that clip, check out more videos from Zolak and Bertrand right here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.